Hey, this is John Young. Today we're looking at the Lydsto. This is the W2. This is a mopping robotic vacuum cleaner here. This is kind of a new unit out there that is relatively recent. It's out on Kickstarter right now. And we're going to go through in depth a lot of the different things and some of my findings. For those who just want the little quick version, it's a neat vacuum. It's actually my first time of jumping into a vacuum that's in that map, the suggested retail price over $1,000, and I'm pretty impressed. If I were going to be going out and having to buy a new vacuum, I would really seriously look at one that has the mopping functionality, which this one has, and the technology of the W2 is pretty amazing. There's a couple of little things with it that they'll get worked out, some little quirks with it, but otherwise, this is a serious contender for being able to keep your house clean at a level most robotic vacuum cleaners can't do. Now let's jump into the full nuts and bolts of this little guy. First off, this vacuum has got an incredibly strong suction on it. It's got like a 5,000 whatever it is. Basically, this has got twice the suction that most of the iRobot type devices that are out there. It has a very nice, easy to access dust area here. Everything is right there. One thing I really like about this little dust collection bin area is that, there is a little rubber gasket with the little filter. So it actually seals up in there so much better than many of the others that are inserted, where they're just the fabric. One thing I'm not overly excited about, it's still talking to me by the way, is that this is the hopper for your cleaning. Now, the dust box, when it's full, it will tell us on the app. And we can take a look at the app here. The app is kind of a neat little app here that will allow us to do really kind of full control of the vacuum. Once you've added the vacuum, you've got the ability to go and it will map out. And the map you're seeing right here is it really happened very quickly. It went and it scanned our house and it got pretty close. And as you can see, it's kind of worked its way around. And it's a neat little app map, and you can do area spots and different things. We'll dig into that a little bit more. But it will tell us when this little dust box is full, and that is a good thing and a bad thing. Now, take a look down here. You can kind of see a little bit down here. It's kind of gritty and dirty. This is actually the mopping basin. What ends up happening is when you put the little mop pieces on there, which here are the mops, they will actually go on the bottom, and there's two little studs here, and when they go on here, it enters mopping mode. So it identifies that the mops are on, and then it becomes a mopping vacuum, which will mean that it will stay, and we just exit the mopping mode, but it will stay off carpeting when it's in mopping mode. As you can see, we're on kind of a tile, and there's a wood here, the fake wood. It will go and work its way around a tile and stay off the carpeting when it's in mopping mode. But the way mopping mode works with this is you've got this little pan right here, and it has these little louver, or these little ridges here, and it will come back in, and then it will fill this area, and then the little things will spin and wash the mops out, rinse them out. Clean water pumps in, spin. Water gets sucked out into the sewage tank, they call it up here. It'll do that, wash these out, then it will go out and it will mop. It'll mop back and forth. It really does a nice job. Take a look at this little map that it'll show you. See how it goes back and forth, and it will show you the trail that this takes through your house. That's really impressive. Jumping back here. This will get all cleaned up. They'll go out, do 6, 9, or 12 minutes, and then it will come back every 6 minutes and rinse itself off and then go back out. Really kind of impressive. Now, if you're going to have like syrup or something spilled, this is not for that. This is for going and basically kind of rinsing the floors like a wet mop of the floor, but not a super wet mop. With that being said, you can see when it's out mopping, it's picking up dirt and different things here. So this is an area I had not cleaned this. We had mopped 3 times in the central part of our house, and I have not cleaned this out any more than just let it rinse itself out and such. Once it's all done mopping for the day, and these are still on, they're sitting about like so under this. And what will happen is that this has a dry sequence. So it will actually push air down and dry these out. So they're not going to get all sour and icky and spoiled. And again, you can look, these have been out 3 times over the floor, and they still are looking brand new. When it's not in mopping mode, the little unit will still go back in and sit in the same way. And this is where it's going to be emptying the dustbin that we see and charging. Now, one thing about that little dustbin, and here's one thing that is kind of a little disappointment with this, is that that dustbin is very small, and we have pets. So it goes out, and the battery life is incredible on this. The suction is incredible, and it goes up and picks up a lot of stuff. Take a look at the dustbin right here. In this sequence, you're seeing a one run around the house, and you're seeing a lot of dust and dog hair and different things. So much so that on one tour around the house, it will plug up the dustbin, and the emptying unit cannot suck the things through. So I was getting some warnings on the app saying dustbin full, and yet I'm looking in the big tank, and there's the big bag inside, and there's nothing there. This is one of the flaws I think they need to work on in the app, is that after it's been out for a period of time, it should come back and empty as other vacuums do. Because if it's going around a larger house like ours, it has the battery to go around the whole house, but it doesn't have the capacity in here, and it's too easy for this to get plugged up with hair, pet hair especially. Now, between our cat and our dog, we've got a couple of dogs that shed, that fills that up very quickly. Basic controls here. We've got a little on-off switch. We've got to go and clean. You can start it from the dock. You can start it from up there if you wanted to. No, don't want to cleanup start. And cleanup is resumed. No, I don't want to go clean up. Let's just stay. So you can start it here. You can start it here, and you can use the app. We also have this neat little LED screen right here that tells you what's going on, especially when you're mopping. You can see some different things going on. It's kind of a neat indicator. You can take this apart. This piece will pop out, and then you can, let's see, where's the triggers? Triggers are right here. You can take this out and rinse it out, and you can snap it back in when it's time to get it. And I'm going to just assist this back up in here so it's not going to be talking to us the whole time. Yeah, and it talks to you an awful lot. So let's look inside right up here on the top. 3 different things on the inside. You've got your dust bag right here, and you can pick up more of these dust bags. They're just a cloth bag. Now, if it's not all the way down, it has detection, so it will tell you that the bag is not installed, and then it won't empty down there. You've got a freshwater tank that holds quite a bit of water. I would recommend, if you have nasty water, well water, we use reverse osmosis water in here, but I would think about distilled water. We can mop a pretty good sized area, and we can use about half the tank. So getting a gallon of distilled water for most people is going to last quite a long time. Then this is the sewage tank. And this one is kind of interesting, is it, again, sucks that up there, and you don't think your floor is that dirty, but this gets pretty scuzzy looking. And I would recommend, after you're done, to go and rinse this out. Empty it out and rinse it out, because this one starts to smell kind of skunky after a really short period of time. Then back here is the little piece that would be used to go and clean the hair off the roller. I wouldn't even use that one because it kind of stinks. As far as it was not very good. Scissors work so much better, I feel. Then that's pretty much the pieces up on top. Let's turn back down here and let's look at the unit itself again. We'll flip this over. So you see the 2 little studs. These are where the mops goes. You've got your little chute here. That's where it empties the dust from the dustbin. You've got a very quick access for the roller. The roller, they will get hair tangled around it, so you need to cut that hair up and keep it clean, which I just did yesterday, so it's in pretty good shape. We have multiple people with long hair in our house, so it has to be done on a regular basis. Now you'll notice that this has kind of a floating thing, and it's kind of weird for getting it all installed properly, but it works. Now here's one of the things that I found kind of a little disappointing. When we had a piece of popcorn on the floor, so this is the front of the vacuum, so they would drive over the popcorn, and then you've got these little sweepers right here, these little rubber little sweeps, and it would hit this, and it would continue to push the popcorn along. It wouldn't actually get under there. It's like I can understand they want to try to divert some of the vacuum suction straight along here. I get that, but I don't know. It came to popcorn, and then we had an old maid kernel from another bag of popcorn that was on the floor to see if it would pick it up, and it wouldn't pick either of those up. When it's on full suction, it can pick up sand and small rocks, but a little bit larger things, it didn't do too well. Now, the two little sweeps on the side do a great job. One thing, though, is that they are mounted in there with a screw. Not a big deal, but when they get hair and things tangled around them, on some of the others where it's just a kind of a friction or magnetic fit, you can easily pop it off, pull the hair off, and put it back on. This one, it was a little more difficult because you either have to remove the screw or you have to kind of unwind the hair. You can kind of see I actually have another little bit there. Front little caster just to give it the wheel in the front for it to go zip around. And it's really pretty basic on the bottom. Now this unit, when it's going and cleaning the house, will clean at a different speed. This moves along quite well. We'll take a look at it here. It's actually going to be in mopping mode here. When it's moving around mopping, it's a little bit slower, but it goes back and forth. And what I really like about it is that it will go and do the outside of the area and then comes and goes back and forth across the middle of the area. So you're basically hitting every little spot as opposed to some vacuums that are doing this weird back and forth, kind of a random pattern. Once you go to vacuum mode, and here's a little clip of the vacuum mode, again, it does the same thing. It goes around an area, and then let's bounce back over to the map here. The map, you can see that it has gone around different areas, and it kind of goes around the outside of the area, then it goes back and forth on the inside to make sure it catches everything. Now, when it comes to cleaning, there's 3 different options beyond just letting it run and do the whole house. You've got the ability to select an area, you've got the ability to select a spot, or you've got an ability to select one of the rooms. Now, this first one, you're seeing on room 2, this is the area, and when you hit the button on the bottom, you will get the little map that pops up, and that map will allow you to go and pull that box over and put it in an area and adjust the size. So you can do part or all of that room if you want to so choose. Next, we've got the spot functionality, which is another option there at the bottom of the screen. The spot will give you one of 2 options. You can do one where it's a square like you see right there, and you can move it around. You hit kind of the central of where you want it to be, and the vacuum will clean in that square area. Or you can have it where it will do a spot that's within 1.5 meters of the vacuum in that specific area that the vacuum is in right now. The final option beyond doing the whole house is room clean. And you can see in this map that we have a variety of different rooms. This is what the vacuum came up with when it came with the rooms and it was figuring it out. So right now I have selected room 5, which is kind of the central location, and I could have the vacuum set where it would just go in that area, which in this case is in green. It would just do that area and then return to the base once it's done. I found this actually worked the best. Jumping back to the problem of the dustbin filling up too quickly, if I just went room by room and then it would go back, empty its dustbin. Then I clicked on the next room. It went and cleaned that one, then went back and emptied its dustbin. This worked really well, and even if my dog had been playing and lost a lot of hair, it didn't plug up that little dustbin on the vacuum, so it worked much better. Now, when it comes to emptying this, if it's in mop mode, when those little mops are on, it will go and come back here, and you'll hear it swish the water, and you'll hear that, and it makes a little bit of noise. When it's emptying the dustbin, which it can do when you're doing the dust/mop, or if you're just doing the vacuum, but when it empties the dustbin, it's really loud. It's like having a huge blower going right next to you. So when this is doing that for that 20 seconds, you basically, all conversation in this area of the house has to stop because it's really, really loud. It does its thing, and then it's ready to go once again. Overall, my thoughts would be nice if the dustbin could be cleaned quicker. I like the mopping. I like the vacuum. I like the speed. I like the suction power. Let's jump back to the map one last time. You'll see right here on the map, I'm going to put a little mark here. That is where the vacuum is at this exact time. If you have a situation where the vacuum's in a different room and it, say, gets tangled up with shoelaces or something, and you have no idea where it is, it's going to show up on the app map. And here's what it will look like. And you just have to basically go to the room and you'll find out. You'll see the little progress bar behind, where it's gone zigzagging back and forth. And then that's where the vacuum will be. Again, I'd like it to empty the dustbin a little bit more frequently. I would like it to be able to kind of be a little easier to use. Some of the things on the app are a little confusing, but once you figure out how the different things work, it works really quite well together. It is big, and there's no question about it. This is a big unit here, and sometimes something this size is kind of big and intimidating. But if you have the spot to put this so it's out of the way, and it could be around the corner, like is what we were going to be doing with it. I just pulled it out here so it's easier to see and easier for doing things. But if you have a spot to kind of keep it out of sight and such, schedule it, let it do its thing, and then you can come back and empty the tank as needed, and you're in great shape. We'll put links in the description below so you can go check this out. But this is the Lydsto. This is the W2. It's got a lot of functionality, and I think for the people who have the right situation for their flooring, this could be a vacuum that's going to keep the big vacuum in the closet a lot longer.
For more tips and how-to videos, go to weekendhandyman.com.